kid is meant to be with you, it's your contact time, and they come to you and say, I want to go home to the other parent. Your heart breaks. How do you respond to that? And that's what we're going to look at in this video. So first off, I apologise, the sun is coming through the window, so I've got half in sunlight, half in shadow. So this comes up a lot in my client work, particularly in alienation, well, always in alienation cases. And it's a really tough one to know how to navigate, because obviously it brings up a lot for you. You don't want your child to go, obviously, it's your time and you have been looking forward to seeing them and you want to spend that time with them, but you can't necessarily force them. But how do you speak to them? How do you convince them to stay? And the honest truth is you might not be able to convince them to stay, but how you handle it can actually lead to greater connection, which can be preventative of the alienating parents' attempts to come between you. So the first thing is it's natural to want to understand why your child is saying that. So you might be tempted to say, why don't you want to stay, or why do you want to go back? I would advise against asking those questions, mainly because your kid doesn't know, or they know but they can't say. So they either know that they've been put under pressure, they've been told, covertly or even overtly sometimes, don't stay there, come back. They've got that message, it drilled into them before they come to your house. So when you ask them why, you're just making them more uncomfortable, because they don't know. They can't say. They can't turn around and say, because that's what mum told me to say, or that's what dad told me to say, or that's what stepdad told me to say, or that's what grandma, whoever is part of this. They're not going to say that to you because they're incredibly loyal, and they've been told there are consequences to telling. There are secrets are very big in narcissistic families, and also it makes them feel really uncomfortable because they don't necessarily thoroughly understand what is happening. They want to enjoy their time with you. They don't want to create an argument. They don't want to be put in the middle. They don't want to be involved in this tug of war, and yet here they are. And so they've decided one course of action is less damaging than another course of action. So going with what is expected of them is less harmful than going against them. And so by you asking that question, it's almost a little bit threatening to them. And I don't mean that that's your intention, but how it's felt is, oh my God, I've got to do this. Why are you asking these questions? So they can actually become quite defensive, and that can lead to the disconnect between you. And obviously that's part of, the alienator's tactics, is to create as much distance between you. So my advice with this is actually not to ask why, not to try and convince them, because that's the other part. You might try and bargain with them. Well, why don't you just stay a little bit longer, see how you feel? Why don't you just have some tea and then see how you feel? And it's all trying to kick the can down the road. Again, that child inside is thinking, oh my God, I'm going to get in trouble because I'm not home yet. So you're creating more and more anxiety in the child. So the first thing I would do is stop and think, okay, what am I feeling inside? And there's going to be some, fears of rejection, some fear around, the control that the other parent has had, confusion as to, have you done something wrong? These are all, and I mean this in the nicest possible way, these are all your issues. They're not for your child to take on. So take a minute and shelve them. Come back to them when you can, when you're free. Come back to them, make a mental note, or even write it down. I recommend getting a journal if you're in this situation, just to make notes and just to talk through from your mind to your pen to the page what has gone on. But write down what's really going on for me. What am I really fearing here? And then, like I say, go back when you've got time and space and the capacity to do it. Go back and look at those questions or, those feelings. Once you've got those, you've got an idea of what's going on for you, breathe and stay calm, because what this provides an opportunity for is real, deep emotional connection and attachment. So sort of zooming out on this, parental alienation is about the breakdown of the attachment between you and your child. And that is done by someone with a disorganized attachment who fears the world, fears people. And part of building a strong attachment is regulation of emotions. You regulating your own emotions and you being able to co-regulate with your child. And you can't do that if you're triggered. If you are triggered by what they're saying to you, what it's bringing up for you, then you cannot regulate your own emotions. You're not regulating your own emotions. When you are regulating your own emotions and you're able to, like say, write it down, deal with it later and stay in the present, that allows space for your child to then feel that they can regulate their own emotions, because all the anxiety, all the confusion, all the sadness and the guilt that they feel of being put in this situation and what they're saying to you and what they're being made to do to you, they can then start to regulate that. Now, they might not be able to verbalize all of this, but they're inside, they will feel safer immediately, just knowing that they can express them if they want and need to. So my advice in these situations is not to do very much at all, except regulate yourself. Self-regulate those emotions, those triggers that you naturally feel in this situation. Come back to them. Don't ignore them. Come back to them. Do some work around what those triggers are and how can you manage them, where they're coming from. And I don't mean present situation. I mean dig as far as you can with them. Work with a therapist. But really, get to the bottom of that. But in that particular moment, put your bits to one side and stay present for your child. Don't ask them why. Don't negotiate with them. Don't try and bargain with them. Just breathe and stay calm. And you can even say to them, I've got to admit, I feel a bit sad hearing you say that, or, be sad about it. What you're not looking at doing is dumping this on them. So it's not about saying, I need you to do that. You can say, I'm feeling a lot of feelings at the moment and I just need a minute to process that. How about you? What are you feeling at the moment? Again, they might not want to verbalize this, but just providing that space for them and showing them you are a safe parent who can regulate their emotions and can be present for them in that moment is so powerful, and it leads to deeper connection. So going back to the attachment, if you're able to do that, if you're able to create a safe space for them, what that child learns is that I can have all these big feelings, and this child, this adult, this human, this parent can provide a safe container for me to feel them all without any pressure, without needing to know what they are, why I'm feeling them, what excuses I've got for saying and doing these things. Just letting me feel, that is what creates that close and more secure attachment that is the exact opposite of what they're experiencing in the other house. In the other house, they are not getting that. They are getting forcefully told how to do things. They are getting covertly told how to do things. They are getting emotionally manipulated. They are taking on board the emotions of the other parent who cannot self-regulate. They are incapable of self-regulating and therefore incapable of co-regulating for the child and providing that safe emotional space, no matter how much bullcrap comes out of their mouth suggesting that they are securely attached and they've got a great bond. All of that is crap because they're not capable of it. It's actions speak louder than words at this point. So do that. Check in with yourself. What am I feeling? Put it to one side. Stay present. A few deep breaths. Tell your child, I'm just I'm feeling a lot of feelings, and I'm just gonna process that a minute, take a few deep breaths, show them that you're having some feelings, but you know how to deal with them. You know, you're not going to put them onto them. You're going to deal with them yourself, and then ask them, how are they feeling? Is there any, you know, must be, just be open to having the conversation around feelings and emotions. Trust me, it is so powerful to be heard and felt in that way, when you know, even if you don't want to speak, you know that someone's got you emotionally. You know when someone is not putting pressure on you to do something that you can't do because of the pressure someone else has put on you. But even just to be able to know, I don't have to say anything, I just know this person's got me. Your whole body relaxes, your nervous system relaxes when you feel that safe with someone, and that is what will help prevent alienation and the alienating attempts. So do like, comment and subscribe. Love to hear your experiences. I'm guessing you've had something similar to this. How did you handle it? What do you think? Maybe you think what I've said is absolute rubbish. That's fine. You're entitled to your opinion. But it's based on attachment theory, and alienation is an attachment issue. If you've read Childress, you know that. So anyway, take care, everyone. If you need support, please do get in touch. I will drop a free ebook below called How Parental Alienation is Hurting Your Child, which again will give you a bit more insight into the attachment and trauma and family systems. So yeah, do take care. Speak soon. Bye bye.